Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween. Make sure that whatever you're doing tonight, you are safe, but also having a very good time. Call the Uber. Don't drive if you're drinking. You know the rules. But I hope everybody has a happy Halloween today. Let's talk a little bit of Denver Nuggets basketball here for just a second because the Denver Nuggets are on the road. They've had this little road stretch here. Their road stretch started with Toronto, then they went to Brooklyn, and now they are facing who I would consider one of their rivals over the last couple of seasons in the Minnesota Timberwolves. Okay, the Timberwolves made some changes in their offseason. They are no longer without Karl Anthony Towns, one of the best offensive bigs in the league, who, in my opinion, caused a lot of problems for the Denver Nuggets. In that 7-game series that the Nuggets unfortunately fell short in last year's playoffs. Karl Anthony Towns no longer with the Minnesota Timberwolves. And to me, this trade, absolutely New York won this trade. Okay. I felt like the Timberwolves were finally building some continuity that they could actually grow on. Last year, arguably, was the best and most successful season we've seen out of the Timberwolves for a few decades, and they were finally building on something, finally finding that chemistry. I felt like Karl Anthony Towns was growing as a player, understanding his role, and like I said, building chemistry with the rest of his team. So it'll be interesting to see how that translates for this Timberwolves team against the Denver Nuggets, because I do believe the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves have always matched up very well. They've always been very competitive games. That being said, the Nuggets are off to a slower start. It's taken them a few games to kind of get some rhythm, get in sync themselves. Those first 2 games, the losses against OKC and the Clippers, were not just losses that it's like, it happens, whatever. They really did expose this Denver Nuggets team for the things that they need to work on and the things that are going to maybe take some time for them to iron out. So we saw some details slipping through the cracks with this Nuggets team. We've seen them struggling with perimeter defense so far this season. We've seen them struggling in terms of protecting the ball. There's quite a few turnovers. We're struggling to get MPJ hot early. Jamal Murray, little inconsistent still. So there's a lot of different things we've seen even over the course of 4 games now. If you count, OKC, Clippers, Toronto, Brooklyn, 4 games now. Now they will be entering their 5th game of the season against a team that is a force to be reckoned with. There's a lot of players on this Timberwolves team that can cause a lot of problems for the Nuggets. We have a comment. Tyler says, "What up, Livy? Thank y'all for not ruining our take." Listen, the Nets played a really great game of basketball against this Denver Nuggets team, and honestly, I wasn't feeling confident in the Nuggets to get the dub in that one as it continued to trend into the 4th quarter. And what we're noticing with this Nuggets team, which we'll talk about the Nets game and the Raptors game actually, and then it'll lead me into the Timberwolves game that we've got coming up tomorrow. But typically in years past, we can depend on this Nuggets team to come out of the gates at the start of the game and really kind of show people what they're made of. The first half historically has been a really great half of basketball for the Denver Nuggets. They play at a faster pace. They play very aggressive and they get hot early. Now what we're seeing, honestly, since the Lakers series, it feels like this is a second half Denver Nuggets team where they kind of come out the gates a little slower, not playing as aggressive. And as a fan, it is very concerning to watch. The game starts and you want to see this exciting, competitive basketball. And what we're getting from the Nuggets instead is very slow and almost tired looking basketball, which again is concerning when we're only entering the 5th game of the season. It's a very long year. We know the NBA season, like the NHL season, there are a lot of games. And the Nuggets actually in this week alone played in back-to-back nights. Both of those games went into overtime. So it is going to be a long season. And if this Nuggets team continues to be a second half team, this is not going to be the last time we see them take a game into overtime. They're going into halftime in deficits. They're clawing their way back in that third quarter. That is their sweet spot right now. This Nuggets team is finding their groove and their rhythm in the third quarter. But then the problem with that is because we're lacking defense, we're keeping the game very close. It's very back and forth. We'll get a great stop. We'll have MPJ splash a three and finally start to get hot. And then just like that, you've got Cam Johnson on the other side of the floor that's splashing threes in your face. So our defense is absolutely concerning. And I feel like if the Nuggets can tighten up defensively, it will allow them a little bit more wiggle room to not have a great performance from MPJ, or to have Jamal Murray starting off slow, or to have Nikola Jokic, resting on the bench, because it's not realistic for him to play 40 plus minutes in these games all season long. It's just not. So it's really important for this Nuggets team defensively to tighten up, to allow themselves to make offensive mistakes, and it won't be costly. It won't cost them the entire game. So defensively, would love to see some adjustments being made. I want to give a positive shout out here to somebody that I feel like maybe is taking scrutiny and really shouldn't be at this point in time, and that's Peyton Watson. He's a young guy. We saw him come off the bench for the Nuggets last season, and in the Timberwolves game specifically, Peyton Watson came up huge for the Denver Nuggets. So I would love to see more Peyton Watson minutes tomorrow night against this Timberwolves team, because defensively, he does have a lot of upside. Now, we have to remember that we did not see Peyton Watson playing at all in the preseason. So there has to be a little bit of grace that we allow to him as he kind of gets his footing. I was actually very pleased by what I saw in these last couple of games by Peyton Watson, not because he played a perfect game of basketball, and not because he was, leading scorer, leading rebounder, leading defensive player, none of that. But it was because he's finally playing with a little bit of confidence. And I think that will really elevate Peyton Watson's game. I think the more time he can spend on the court, making those mid-game adjustments and figuring things out. One of the things that head coach Malone talked about at Media Day was wanting to see a little more mental maturity from Peyton Watson. And I think the only way you're going to get that from him and he's going to grow is by throwing him in the games and telling him to pretty much just figure it out. And so I've really appreciated seeing him, getting a little bit more confidence and playing a little bit more aggressive, because I think that he will be very important off of our bench from a defensive perspective for this Nuggets team. We've got a comment here: overtime against the Nets after the Raptors. All I can say is get well soon. This gentleman is one of the loudest trolls I think we've ever had on a show as it pertains to the NBA season. Lakers fan, he's made that very clear many, many, many times. And my only reminder to this user, as well as anybody else that's watching the Denver Nuggets right now, really rough start. That 0-2 start, like I said, exposed the Denver Nuggets of a lot of holes that they've got in their system right now, and a lot of things that need to be tidied up and ironed out. That being said, it is a very, very long season. And, historically, it's easy to get excited about what you see early in an NBA season, but just know injuries happen. And you don't ever want to peak too early. That's just not something that I want for this Nuggets team, especially given that one of their largest downsides last season was their endurance. I felt like by the time the playoffs rolled around, they had exerted way too much energy, and they were pretty much worthless in the playoffs. It felt like, from an energy perspective, they had none. So I really think that, there's going to be some adjustments, and there's going to be a lot of different things that ups and downs. Do I think that the Nuggets on paper should have ever let the Raptors or the Nets game get to that point and get it to overtime? No, they should have won comfortably and convincingly. I've watched that every game they've played so far this season outside of OKC. I have felt like should have been an easy dub, and it wasn't. So much of that is the perimeter defense. If you've got 3-point shooters on the other team and you're not playing perimeter defense, just like that, you can lose a game. So the perimeter defense is crucial for this Nuggets team in terms of tightening up and getting back on track there. Defensively, that is probably, actually altogether, that's probably my largest concern right now with the Denver Nuggets is their defense. So I would love to see them tighten up on that. But Back to Peyton Watson. Obviously, Peyton Watson to me, playing more confident basketball, that is going to be massively important for this Nuggets team. Dario Saric coming off the bench. He's just not doing it for me right now. He's just not. And again, early in the season, I would love to see him tighten some things up himself so that I don't have to stress about it. But his minutes right now are feeling pretty costly. They're not going to alleviate Nikola Jokic of minutes being played, because when Dario Saric is out there, he's not positively making an impact. I believe he's actually negatively making an impact right now. He's got to do a little bit less, do less with more. I feel like it's just, he's out there and he's shifty, and it's a tough watch, but it's also, again, costing the Nuggets, both offensively and defensively when our second unit is on the floor. Julian Strother finding a little bit of rhythm as of late. Would love to see him again. Just continue, take your shot. I think he's one of those players that the more he's out there, the more he's shooting, the more confident he is in his game. We're going to see some really impressive stuff from him. He was 3 of 6 from the field against the Nets. Only 3 3-pointers that he took. He was 1 of 3. So again, the more that he shoots, I think the more consistent that he will become. He only had 7 points against the Nets. But we had our starters that were showing up a whole lot more. Every single starter that we played was in double digits offensively. And I know that sounds like, the smallest little detail, but like I said in my post-game recap after the Raptors game, and that one went into OT, I said, I found myself cheering for little details. After watching the first 2 games of the Nuggets season, I found myself cheering for things that I normally wouldn't even think about. Passes without turnovers, made free throws, an early 3-point shot, little details that I know the Nuggets just have to get firing on all cylinders right now, and they have to just get in sync in every single direction. And it's taking some time to get there, but there is that light at the end of the tunnel that I have seen now in these last 2 games that went into overtime that made me think, okay, there is hope after all. This Nuggets team is proving to be a very clutch. They do well in clutch minutes when it's down to the wire, second half, when there's a deficit. They do really find their spark in that second half. And I mean, I guess however you've got to get it done. But I would much prefer a hotter start in the beginning so we're all not sweating it out in the end. But that's neither here nor there. I'm happy to see them getting some wins and proving that they've still got that clutch gene, because it does matter. Having a clutch gene does matter in the NBA. And so hopefully they can continue to build off of that. Now, our starters in double digits against the Nets. That is huge, and that is mandatory against a team like the Timberwolves. Michael Porter Jr. got hot from the 3-point line. I loved that. I actually took over 2.5 threes for him in that game. I also took over 22.5 points and rebounds. He fell short there. He had 16 points, 5 rebounds. Fell short by 2, which is always very painful. But he fell short there. Did get hot from the 3, though. 4 of 7 from 3. Now, Aaron Gordon, 24 points for Aaron Gordon, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. I really love when Aaron Gordon plays aggressive. We've talked about Aaron Gordon's game before. He can go body to body with just about anybody in this league, and we need that from him often. However, I don't think that his body is going to be able to go body to body and play as physical and aggressive as he wants to all season long, which is why our second unit has to step up. Jokic with another triple-double, damn near a 30-point triple-double, just shy of that, 29 points, 18 rebounds, 16 assists. We're about to see this translate all season long. For Nikola Jokic, a triple-double truly feels like it's just easy work for him because of the importance that he is for this Denver Nuggets team. And in non-Jokic minutes, if you watch the Denver Nuggets, you can see a difference. It's absolutely there, and it's absolutely obvious. And so having Nikola Jokic out on the floor, as hard as it is. I mean, he played 40 minutes in this game. I believe he played over 40 in the last one. He against OKC, 35 minutes played, 36 against the Clippers, 43 against Toronto, and 40 against the Brooklyn Nets. I know he is a phenomenal basketball player, but it does not feel realistic to me to have him playing that many minutes all season long. Again, that stresses the importance of our second unit stepping up. Jamal Murray, we're getting there. 24 points for him, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. He was 2 of 7 from 3. Now, I talked last week about, or this week, what the Nuggets were playing about the fact that Jamal Murray scoring 22 points, to me, that's bare minimum. That's a bad night for Jamal. 12 points is just simply unacceptable. It's just simply unacceptable when you're on a max contract. And if you want this team to be successful, which I would hope Jamal Murray wants this team to be successful this season, 22 points is bare minimum. He had 24 in this one. So again, if we can just get that consistency from him more often, I feel a lot better about where this Nuggets team is sitting. Christian Brown, 12 points. We have a comment here from Tyler that says Brown has been a revelation and he's gone very under the radar. Listen, I'm very pleased with CB and what he has been able to do so early in this new starting lineup. Being a starter for the first time on this Nuggets team when the other 4 starters have won a championship, and CB has also won a championship. He just wasn't a part of the starting lineup. A lot of pressure there. And I do think that there was some competition between him and Strother as to who was going to win that starting shooting guard position. Ultimately, CB won it. I think much of that had to do with his defensive upside. If CB can get a little bit hotter from 3, I'm feeling very confident about him keeping this starting role and being very crucial for this Nuggets team. 12 points for him, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. He was 2 of 3 from 3, and he had 2 blocks. Okay, so defensively, we see it. It's there. There is a lot of upside as it pertains to CB, and I think if he can just continue to take the right shots, we're gonna be benefiting greatly from having CB as a starter here. This is a comment from Big Baby Jonathan. Says, do you see any weaknesses in the Denver Nuggets? Absolutely, I do. Lots, actually. And that's not me being a Debbie Downer. That's just me knowing that when this team is at its best, it's magic, and we're just not there yet. And I do think it will take some time to get there. One of the largest concerns going into this season that I think is still a concern for sure is that second unit. What can that second unit bring to the floor in non-Jokic minutes and non-Jamal minutes that can help this Nuggets team be a little bit more, aware of their bodies and how long this season truly is. I think what we saw last season was our starters playing damn near full minutes, damn near every game because they had to. We did not have a reliable bench. We did not have depth whatsoever. And so by the time the playoffs rolled around, the Nuggets were exhausted. And that is no excuse as to why they lost in the playoffs to the Timberwolves in a 7-game series, but they just looked exhausted. And so our second unit coming into the season was always a concern of mine because we do need a bench and some depth that can allow Jokic to rest a little bit, can allow an Aaron Gordon to rest a little bit. And so that was a concern going into this season. It is still a concern now. However, as I've watched games, slowly but surely, I feel like our bench is starting to figure things out. So that feels like an issue that at one point stressed me out a whole lot more. For example, Russell Westbrook. Make sure the apologies are as loud as the disrespect. Listen, I sat there. I let people make me a meme. I had NBA Centel putting Russell Westbrook's face on my face like I had a freaking mustache. It was actually wickedly good editing because it looked way too similar and I did not like it. I was like, what the hell is that? But I sat back, I let people talk their shit. And it's funny because then I went on social media after Russ had this big game and, I was very excited. I'm like, hey, my notifications are pretty dry tonight. I wonder why. 22 points, 1 rebound, 5 assists, okay? A perfect 10 of 10 from the free throw line, a perfect 2 of 2 from 3, and 1 steal, okay? And only 1 turnover for Westbrook. Really, really great performance by Westbrook against Brooklyn. Now, couple of close calls with Westbrook as it pertains to turnovers. There's a few moments where I'm like, oh God, please, please, please. Kind of a little bit reminds me of those Reggie Jackson minutes where you're like, slow down, chill, breathe. Holy crap, please come back down to earth a little. Namaste. Because they get the ball and they're like this jitterbug playing hot potato. And you're like, Lord have mercy, this could go so bad, so quick. So Russell Westbrook with a much stronger performance. Again, that is the type of stuff that I want to see more so that I can feel like our second unit is a little bit more reliable. We do have a comment here that's saying, It is not just the second unit. 1000%, you are not wrong. And if you've been on this show with me before, maybe you haven't. If you're new, welcome. Thank you for being here. I have talked about this many, many, many times. Matter of fact, when I was becoming a meme on NBA Centel with Russell Westbrook on my face, and everybody wanted to make Russell Westbrook the talking point of the Denver Nuggets. Nuggets are 0-2. Russell Westbrook, 11.1% from the field, blah, 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 whatever it was, whatever the trolling looked like towards Russell Westbrook. I was very, very clear on my show that Westbrook was not the issue. Was he an issue? Sure. Was he the issue? No. I spent more time on my shows talking about the max contract players that were not showing up for this Denver Nuggets team. I don't want Russell Westbrook to have to score 20 plus off the bench in order for this Nuggets team to stay alive. It shouldn't come down to that. It really shouldn't. I want Russ to run point, because when he does that, when him and Jokic find each other, it's great. I love it. Okay. There's moments that I'm seeing with Russ more and more where I'm like, that's your role. That's your role. Tap into that. Don't do this extra fluffy stuff because it's not your game. That being said, when you have an MPJ that's 0 of 6 from 3, or a Jamal Murray that's only scoring 12 points, your two best shooters, you need a Russell Westbrook to come off the bench and be the hero and save the day. He shouldn't have to do that. That's not his role. I don't think that's what the Nuggets need him for if our starters can show up. So to your point, absolutely, you are not wrong. Our starters, our MPJ, who's supposed to be our best three-point shooter, that is starting really slow in these games. Our Jamal Murray, that's still making those jumper, or missing those jumpers and those layups that are normally easy money for him. He's not making them. MPJ against this Nets team, this was a really great opportunity, in my opinion, for him to pop off, okay? Against small forwards in the NBA so far this season, the Nets are allowing like the 4th most points, the 3rd most rebounds. They're basically bottom 5 in points and rebounds allowed to opposing small forwards. So this was a really great opportunity for MPJ to kind of show us, hey, he's got some things going, and we don't have to panic yet. He was 4 of 7 from 3, so he did take advantage of that small forward defense. Just, it was a good matchup for him to take advantage of getting that 3-point shot back. But again, only 16 points in 40 minutes. We just need more. We just do. That's just the simple fact of the matter. So yeah, I will say it is early in this season, and I'll probably give it till about, I think I said this specifically in one of my post-game recaps, that I would wait until about game 25 before I started to panic over what this Nuggets team was looking like. In game 1 and game 2 against OKC and the Clippers, it was very easy to want to panic. It was like, what in the world is going on here? Where is the Nuggets team that we know and love? This is not them. But I did tell myself, 25 games into the season, if we still look like this, we will panic. But I don't think we need to panic just yet. We've still got some time, and we've still got, some things that need to be ironed out. And slowly but surely, I'm seeing some progression every single game from somebody on the floor. And that is really, really important. So now, really quickly, let's talk about this matchup that the Nuggets have tomorrow night against the Timberwolves, okay? Your key players in this one, obviously, Nikola Jokic. He had 2 back-to-back 40-point performances. One was a triple-double, one was a double-double. He had a triple-double most recently against the Nets, scoring 29 points. He is the key player here. He's averaging 31.5 points per game, 12.3 rebounds, 9.3 assists, 1.2 steals, 1.2 blocks. As per usual, Nikola Jokic is arguably the most important guy on the floor. Now, he needs help. At the end of the day, we're in game 5 here. This Nuggets team still doesn't look like they're in peak shape, okay? So I would imagine they're going to continue to get tired. They're going to continue to play slow first halves. Jokic needs some help. That's just the facts. Now, the other key player that we have to address here, Anthony Edwards. The dude's a baller. I really don't have much criticism to throw his way ever, because I love watching him play basketball, and to me, he's one of one. He's averaging 30 points per game right now, 6.3 rebounds, 3.5 assists, half a steal, half a block. Anthony Edwards is him, okay? And when you look at the team stats of these 2 games, offensively, the Nuggets, believe it or not, are actually better than the Timberwolves so far this season in terms of points scored per game. The Nuggets averaging 115.5, the Timberwolves only averaging 111.5. So there is an offensive upside here for the Nuggets if they want to continue to compete against some bigger and badder teams. Listen, batter being the positive version of batter, not like, like badass, not bad, because the Timberwolves aren't bad. But again, to the point of one of the comments earlier, it really shouldn't have gone OT against the Raptors and the Nets. And when you've got the Timberwolves on your schedule, yeah, you really can't be playing slow basketball out the gates like you can against the Nets and Raptors and still expect to win, okay? The pace is pretty evenly matched here. The Nuggets rank 26th in pace and the Timberwolves are 24th. So, the Timberwolves might actually have a slow start as well, but it gives the Nuggets an opportunity to really focus defensively in that first half on trying to get some stops, man. You cannot let Anthony Edwards get hot from three like you did Cam flipping Johnson. Hello? I mean, good luck with that one, Nuggets. Let's tidy that up very quickly. 3-point shooting. Unfortunately, the Timberwolves look a whole lot better than the Nuggets right now from the 3-point line, and that is my fear in this one, okay? That is my fear. The Timberwolves, 4th in 3-point field goal percentage, 5th in just 3-point field goals, period. And in their field goal percentage, they're 12th, okay? In comparison to the Nuggets, who are 22nd. They're 22nd in 3-point field goals, and they're 14th in 3-point field goal percentage. Ouch. Yeah, it's one of those games where unless the Nuggets have a very strong game plan around perimeter defense, this game could get out of hand very flipping fast. Because right now you've got the Timberwolves that are shooting very well from three, and you've got the Nuggets that don't know how to defend the perimeter. It could be a really big problem, okay? This game could get out of control really effing fast. And right now, let's see what Vegas is predicting is going to happen in this one. And I don't think I'm going to like it all that much. I think it's going to scare me. I think the spread is going to be pretty big in favor of the Timberwolves here. Like I said, because of that 3-point shooting. We actually don't have odds yet, so I'll let you guys in the chat guess what you think that's going to be. Both of these teams are 2-2 right now. The Nuggets actually an impressive 2-0 on the road, and the Timberwolves only 1-1 at home. So there are some advantages here for this Denver Nuggets team. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the Timberwolves just played on Tuesday. The Nuggets' last game was also on Tuesday. So both of these teams evenly matched as it pertains to the rest, dis or advantage. Both of them evenly matched here in terms of, rest. However, the Timberwolves did play at home against the Mavericks on Tuesday and they don't have to travel. So the Nuggets do have that travel aspect there that could make a difference. But like I said, the 3-point shots in this game, that is going to be where the Nuggets, if the Nuggets don't compete in this one, I can tell you right now, it's going to be because of the large discrepancy in 3-point shooting. That's what it's going to be. That's what we'll be talking about in the post-game presser. That's what my tweets will look like live. It will be the fact that the Timberwolves had threes falling all night long because the Nuggets can't defend the perimeter, and the Nuggets are still in this lull of 3-point shooting where by the time they get hot, you're in the third quarter and it's a little too late because you're in a deficit because you couldn't stop the three from a team like the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves are shooting well from three. The Nuggets have got to find an answer for that, or it's going to be a very long night. Now, where the Nuggets are seeing some upside when you look at this head-to-head matchup here is rebounding to the eye. Listen, I've actually seen a lot of split opinions here on the Nuggets rebounding. I believe it was against OKC. A lot of people on Twitter, the Nuggets aren't rebounding well. They actually were. Eye test wise, it didn't look that way, but they were rebounding well. And right now they rank 6th in total rebounds per game. Offensive rebounds, they rank 10th in comparison to the Timberwolves, who are 18th in rebounds and 23rd in offensive rebounds. Okay. So second chance opportunities there at points when you have offensive rebounds. And they're very important because we have a Jamal Murray right now that's missing easy layups or his normal jump shot that is just so crispy and beautiful. The Flurry Murray moment, Murray Flurry, whatever you want to call it. Normally fantastic. However, right now doesn't feel super great and not super confident in it. Offensively, we still have some work to do, but rebounding is massively important. And actually, it's typically something I feel like the Nuggets don't do very well. So they're kind of flip-flopping on me. Okay. Normally, they're really great in the first half, then they fall apart in the third quarter, and then they're clawing back in the fourth. And then you're like, why did you do that? Now it's the opposite. They're not starting strong. They're finding their rhythm in the third, and then they're getting that lead in the fourth. It's weird. I don't understand it, and they're rebounding well. So let's look at a couple of these comments really quick. Tyler says, take advantage of the Wolves early adjusting to life without Cat. Yes, 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 yes. There's going to be some adjustments that this Timberwolves team is going to have to make. We're going to have to allow some grace to the Timberwolves as they work through this new roster and this new chemistry. And again, that's why this trade didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. They finally had some continuity that they could build off of, and then they ruined it. Not sure. It's not my business. It's not my problem, but I don't understand it. We've got another comment. Liv, it can be a different thing. If Nuggets guard well three-point shooters, they can win as well. Yes, 100%. Defend. The defense right now is just a big concern of mine. If they can play a little bit better on defense, I'm feeling pretty good about where the Nuggets are at right now. But when you let people just go lights out from three and you're not making your threes, your best three-point shooters aren't really there, it's tough. It's tough to win those games. Another comment, Nuggets do not need good three-point shooting if they guard well three-point shooters. You're right, but we paid Jamal Murray a lot of money. I would like for his threes to fall a little bit more consistently. And that's MPJ's game. And that's something that the Nuggets themselves talked to us about in media day. MPJ himself said losing KCP means that the rest of us have to step up. Myself, Julian Strother, he talked about these things. So we got to see that translate. You know what I mean? Like, I get what you're saying there, where it's like, as long as they're not shooting more three-pointers than you don't really need to make yours, but we don't have a reliable enough perimeter defense. Quite frankly, I don't think we ever have. Our strongest perimeter defensive player in our starting lineup is no longer on this team. So it's tough. I think we do have some advantage there. CB, there is a lot of defensive upside. We just have to see it. We haven't seen it quite yet. I think we can. But against the Timberwolves, you really got to lock them down early. You have to. We've got another comment. CB is more than better replacement to KCP, in my honest opinion. I'm going to respectfully disagree, but it's early. And I do know that there is defensive upside to Christian Braun, and I've loved what we've seen from him so far. But to be a 3-and-D guy, to be somebody that can make an impact on both sides of the floor in a matter of seconds is huge, huge. So if CB can improve some of his shooting and get a little bit more confidence in terms of his defense, I would say, we'll agree to disagree on that one. We'll agree to disagree. DJ Seahawk says CB on Ant makes sense. Yeah, I think that CB, he plays tough, man. And that's one thing I'm very excited about with him this season. He plays very tough. So this will be a really, really good testament to what CB can bring defensively. And we've actually seen CB come off of the bench in Timberwolves games and make an impact. So who's to say he can't do it as a starter? I believe he can. I'm excited to see it. Said, let's have this conversation in 10 games, referring to the CB and KCP comparison. We absolutely will. We will revisit this. You may absolutely be on the money with this one, but to me, dang, KCP is just, he's special. He's special, and I'm still mourning the loss of him, if we're being completely honest. So to me, part of it is just me still not being over the fact that we couldn't keep him around, because I think he's going to be fantastic. We will compare CB's production and KCP's production 10 games from now. We'll see how we're doing. But KCP, to me was a phenomenal starter in this lineup and really impacted both sides of the floor and was crucial in the Nuggets' success. So CB, very high ceiling. I'm not worried about that. This dude has won a championship on every level of basketball: high school, college, NBA. I mean, you've got to be a dog to be able to do that. So I'm not worried about what CB can bring. I think he's only going to get better. That being said, against the Timberwolves, this would be a really great game for the Nuggets to solidify what they've been building and show people that they still have that edge. They still have that edge, and they still have the talent, and they can win tough games. Because again, should the Toronto and the Brooklyn game even gone into overtime? Probably not. The Nuggets should have just won that shit, but they didn't. So anyway, yeah, I think 3-point shooting is going to be the name of the game in this one. I really do. I think that it's going to be a testament to the Nuggets and what more they need to improve on, but 3-point shooting is going to be it. And that's exactly, I guarantee you, that's what we'll be talking about in a post-game presser. Either we got hot from 3 and we were able to slow down the 3, or we weren't, and it's going to be a blowout. To me, that's going to make the difference here. So anyway, I do think for the most part, outside of that 3-point shooting, these teams right now are evenly matched while we're in this period of the Timberwolves trying to figure out who they are without Karl Anthony Towns, throwing some new guys into the mix. What does that look like for them? I do think this is a good opportunity, and the Nuggets are in a position to be able to compete. That is if they can tidy up that perimeter defense and they can get hot a little bit quicker, because I do think this game can get very out of control very quickly if the Nuggets don't make some adjustments at the 3-point line. So that being said, those are my notes for the Timberwolves game tomorrow. We will have a post-game recap as well. I will be live right here from this seat giving you guys a post-game recap following the Timberwolves Nuggets game. Hopefully it's all positive things. Hopefully it's all good stuff. It may not be, that's the reality of this Nuggets team right now. They made a lot of changes in their offseason. We've got a new starter in the mix. Julian Strawther playing for the first time healthy. Peyton Watson didn't get a preseason. Now we're seeing it. And Russell Westbrook showed that he's still got something in there, man. It's just going to take a second to get him fully understanding his role and also molding him in with the dynamic of this Nuggets team. One last comment here. Nuggets fans naturally overhype favorite players. KCP is one of them. KCP was terrible in all of the games against the Wolves. I do sometimes, I've admitted this before, struggle to separate the athlete from the human. When I love the human, when I like the human, when I'm a big fan of theirs, I sometimes can overlook bad basketball. It's true. I'm not proud of that, but it's definitely the truth. Yes, you guys. So tomorrow we will have a post-game live reaction from yours truly, talking about the Nuggets Timberwolves matchup. Hopefully we can continue to see this Nuggets team build off of what we saw in these last 2 overtime games, because I did see a light at the end of the tunnel and I liked what I saw. So hopefully they will build off of that. I appreciate you guys for hanging with me. This has been another episode of Off Court. I'm your host, Liv Moods. I will be bringing you coverage on all things Denver Nuggets all season long, as well as the Denver Broncos. We'll be busy around here, but I love what I do, and I'm thankful for everybody that tunes in and hangs out with me and interacts in the comments. Make sure that you guys are subscribed and following all things Guerrilla Sports. We've got a lot of exciting content coming your way. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Liv Moods, and we'll see you tomorrow night for a post-game recap following the Nuggets Timberwolves game. Bye.